Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Friday, August 10th, 2012. The Chief Financial Officer of Munich Re took to the press this morning trying to defend the numbers that were released yesterday on the second quarter results. Chief Financial Officer George Quinn described the sharp decline in profits in the second quarter as only an accounting effect. We noted yesterday that Swiss Re slipped to an $83 million profit compared to last year's $960 million. It's on the back of a $1 billion write-down that they took for the sale of Admin Re in the U.S. Mr. Quinn insisted that the sale ultimately will be profitable for Swiss Re from an economic point of view. He said, "We're selling our Admin Re business in the U.S. because it's not making enough profit." He also reiterated Swiss Re's ambition to become the leading player in the whole insurance and reinsurance industry, a clear warning to Munich Re, which is number one. Number three, Hanover Re came in with their numbers. They reported net income of about 405 million euros compared to 218 million euros for the same period last year. They reported a very pleasing result in the non-life reinsurance market. CEO Ulrich Wallen said that the April 1 renewals in Japan and South Korea and the U.S. actually achieved an even better outcome than we had expected, especially compared to the first round of renewals at January 1. The major burden for the first half actually was the Italian earthquake in May, which resulted in a net loss of about 61 million euros for Hanover Re. That Italian earthquake in May actually had a bigger effect on Kiln. Kiln runs a number of syndicates in Lloyd's. Their short-tail property syndicate number 807 now, as a result of the Italian earthquake, could be facing a loss for the 2011 year of account. The forecasted return on capacity for 807 now ranges between a loss of return on capacity of about 4.5% or a small profit of 0.5%. The previous forecast had ranged from a loss of 2.8% or a profit of 2.2%. Kiln insists that as a result of having merged 805 now with 510, they're on track for growth this year. Well, the National Oceanic Atmospherics Administration has gotten into the act now on predicting remaining hurricane activity for the season. They are now raising their expectations up to an 85% chance of a normal or above normal season. They now say that the Atlantic could be in for 3 to 6 hurricanes, 2 or 3 of the major hurricanes through November. Major hurricanes rank 3, 4, or 5 on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale. Just for comparison purposes, Ernesto, which rumbled around the Gulf, was a number 1 on the Saffir-Simpson scale. The big broker Marsh has been confirmed as the broker with the task of finding insurance cover for Azerbaijan's first telecommunications satellite. It's going to be called Azerspace 1. It's due to be launched at the beginning of 2013. The satellite's built by the U.S. company Orbital Science Corporation. It's going to provide TV and radio broadcasting as well as internet services with a reach covering Europe, large parts of Asia, and Africa. Marsh's job is to source cover to indemnify Azerbaijan's state-owned Azercosmos, which is the space agency, in the event of an accident. Azerbaijan will be the 11th country now with a satellite in space. China came out with some economic data today indicating that their economy is sputtering. Dismal, feeble trade data, that's what some commentators are calling it. Data released today showed that the growth in exports from China had ground to a near halt last month in July. Exports were up only 1% from the same month a year earlier, I should say. Expectations were hardly met. June, for example, showed an 11.3% increase, so July really was not good. China's export growth, you should know, peaked in 2004 at a 35% increase year on year. Since then, though, in China, average wages have risen by more than 150%. Land prices have increased by 70%. Electricity prices have gone up 30%. And the Chinese currency, the yuan, that is used to pay for these things, has increased more than 30% against the dollar. Rapid increases in these factors are very bad news. The majority of China's exports compete on price with no edge on technology or brand to distinguish them, i.e. labor costs. I got a couple of emails yesterday from our friends in Nigeria who watched this show, and I am not at all making fun of this situation regarding the Dana Air plane crash from June when the MD-80 crashed in Lagos, killing 153 people. I just can't believe it. And yesterday we reported on the whole list of documentation that's required to be brought to the morgue to reclaim the bodies of the deceased. This is over 2 months after the crash. Well, we have a report today as to what happened yesterday. And as we could expect, late arrival and non-compliance with the laid down directives for the collection of identified bodies of the Dana air crash victims meant that instead of the 20 bodies that were expected to be released from the hospital morgue yesterday, possibly as few as 5 were released. According to the chief medical director of the morgue, some of the relatives did not come on time. I cannot precisely say how many bodies have been released so far. Some relatives were not ready, and some decided to keep the bodies in the morgue. Let me clarify this. He said as long as the corpses stay in the morgue, the Lagos state government is not charging any money from the relatives. Many relatives did not have the proper identification, and there was even confusion among the order of priority of the relatives that did appear in ranking them ahead of others and being able to claim the bodies. A number of non-relatives who said they had been authorized to pick up the bodies did not have the proper ID. You will recall that yesterday there were 6 documents that they need to have, all 6 of them. Meanwhile, there was a scuffle that broke out between mortuary attendants and a photographer. The photographer apparently attempted to take a picture of an ambulance in which a departing body may have been in. He was actually severely lacerated on his face and had to be admitted to the hospital. The Nigerian press minister said that such an attack was completely unwarranted and that journalists are important people in our society. They may not be molested for any reason, and the government is going to be paying for the hospital bills. The journalist was admitted to the same hospital that the bodies are in. It's just a tragedy that just keeps going on and on. We'll see what happens today. And maybe by Monday, according to the schedule, some 60 bodies will have been released. That's the news for today. Have a good weekend. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. See you then.